welcome to the 65th episode of the Nerdom and Other Nonsense anime podcast. Today, we are bringing you the third week of the fall 2018 season. As always, we include timestamps in the description of the YouTube video and podcast feed if you only want to hear about one or two specific shows, since we spoil literally everything. My name is Kat, and I'm confused why the little girl who gives Gridman his drills in SSS Gridman doesn't have a drill hair design the one time it would actually be appropriate. Also with me are Leo and fucking Bcom.
Yay!
Yeah, I wrote that one.
Obviously.
Yeah. You and your
I was
Gridman.
so upset. Like, there's this little girl who gives Gridman drills in, like, Gurren Lagann drills on, like, episode 5 of that show. And she has, like, twin tail hair, but it's not drill hair. And it's like, show, you had the one chance to put drill hair in that made sense, and you didn't do
obvious,
it.
So
I look, I don't know, maybe, but, like, come on. Like,
You're
the
like,
one
look.
time I would have been okay with it.
Nice.
So upset.
Aw. Too bad. Nothing exciting happened to me or any of the people I work with this week, so I got no stories.
That's too bad. Anything exciting with you, Kat?
My fucking car had problems, but that's its own mess. So
That's more depressing than exciting, really.
Exactly. But yeah, so let's see what sort of excitement happened in Double Decker.
Okay. So, Double Decker, we're starting with episode 3s this week, and like we said, we're going weekly, so we're just going one episode at a time. So, episode 3, your rival is your partner's partner. So yeah, at the beginning of this episode, we're briefly introduced to this genius scientist at 7-0 who designs and maintains, like, their guns, whose name is Apple Bieber.
Yes! His name is fucking what? We need to talk about this. What the hell?
Apple Bieber.
Why would they name him Apple Bieber? What is this?
I mean, because all the ladies love him. I don't know.
Oh my god. This is some,
that would be-
terrible Japanese joke. They're like, this fucking stupid Canadian artist. Let's make fun of him in our anime. Call him Apple Bieber.
This show is kind of memey. Like, it is constantly, like joking about itself all the time, like the narrator and everything. So
yeah, it does.
so he's super annoyed because all of the women in the group call him Apple instead of Doctor. He's like a doctor, and he wants them to respect him, but they don't care.
He always says it in that,
yeah.
high-pitched voice, too. He's like, respect me! Yeah! Call me Doctor!
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So, Kirill's first real case with Doug is to investigate an industrial district to try and find this dude called the Bamboo Man. He's like this masked guy with jewels for teeth, and he's like a big supplier of Anthem, the big drug that, you know...
Why do they call him Bamboo Man? Because, like, wouldn't they call him, like, Jewel Teeth Man? Because...
You would think.
Like, what about him is bamboo-ish? Nothing.
Just look at any of the naming in the show. Like, Kirill, they're calling him Buzzcut. He doesn't have a buzz cut. What the fuck?
I
So their
guess.
name
they get
is
right.
not really on point. Like, besides maybe Pink. That's a pretty good
They
name.
got Pink and they got Rookie, which
And
makes
Robot.
sense.
Yeah,
Robot.
like, Kay is able to narrow down the search area because she sees, like, a specific type of pie called Ignis pie in one of the espionage photos. And it's like a delicacy from that part of town, so they know where to go. So Kirill is, like, encouraged by that old lady in his apartment complex to buy some donuts to help with his relationship troubles. Like, he has a book on relationship problems because he's so upset about, like, not being close to his partner Doug yet, I guess.
That part was funny. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he picks up donuts, and he's like, Doug, here's some donuts. And Doug's just like, oh yeah, I've heard those are good. And he just, like, walks away.
Oh, I know.
And so...
And then later he's like, man, I'm hungry. And he, like, looks back, and he's like, oh, the donuts. And then the other bitch has already eaten them all. And he's
Yeah,
just
Kay
like,
ate
fuck.
all of them.
Also,
She just scarfs them down.
She's a big foodie.
Are you
Yes.
scrolling over the fact that earlier in the show, like that guy, the main guy, was like doing that whoosh whoosh thing in the hallway? Are you scrolling
with
over
his
that?
gun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did scroll over that.
What
Yeah.
the fuck? Okay, we all do embarrassing things at home, but you can't fucking do that in the office. You can't act like a 5-year-old playing like make believe with your gun.
It bugged me too. Because I put down the note, I was like, Kirill's stupidity is kind of wearing on me a little bit. I'm like, can somebody really be this dumb?
Well, okay, you
I
can
think
do
they can.
really cheesy, terrible things like in the comfort of your own home where you know no one will see you. But like, don't do that shit at the office.
In the hallway.
I know. That was weird.
And, like, he fires, like, that big gun and, like, flies back into the wall at the fire range because he's so light. So, yeah, when they arrive on the scene at this industrial zone, Kirill is all gung-ho to just go in, guns blazing, and just, like, kill everyone, get the information. And Doug's like, no, that's not how this works. Like, they disguise themselves as cameramen and reporters, and they go in and they interview these workers who are on strike because of, like, extremely poor working conditions. And they meet the head of the union, who is a man named Harry Bottoms.
Harry Bottoms.
Because names in this show are amazing. So Doug makes a note of a book that Harry is carrying. When he enters the room, he looks at it and gets like a weird look on his face. And that comes up later.
That the guy is like stupidly quoting from.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even like pay attention to the quote because it just seemed dumb. But
yeah.
He explains that, or Harry Bottoms explains that the gas from the factory is supposedly giving people health issues, like lung disease for himself, apparently. And so that's why they're on strike. They want better working conditions. And so Kirill is like instantly won over by these striking guys, and he sports them. And they go into the factory to talk to some of the scabs who are still working, right? And Doug notices one conveyor belt that's much cleaner than all the others. And Kirill goes over there also, sees a scrap of newspaper that the anthem had been hidden in previously. And so they know something's up. Kirill decides to stay and stake out the suspicious factory in the car. And, like, Doug and Kay just, like, go to a hotel. They're like, we're done. Okay, you can do this. Have fun. And so that night, as he's staking them out, he sees this caravan of trucks leaving, and they all have their headlights off, which is super suspicious. So he drives in front of them, blockades the road with his sweet-ass car, and stops them. And then apparently, though, they were just all carrying refined oil and nothing else. And they claim that they drive without the headlights on, otherwise, like, angry people throw rocks at them because there's a lot of, like, economic unrest in this city and a lot of people in the slums who hate this company. So, embarrassed, Kirill calls Apple Bieber to ask him what he knows of Doug's old partner, Derek. And he basically just says, Derek is this awesome guy. I really miss him. He was amazing. He's way better than you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, afterwards, Kay finds Kirill and asks him if he wants to go eat some food and to, like, thank him for the donuts. And then Kirill, who's an idiot, like Leo said, mistakenly thinks that this means, like, he won Kay's heart with the donuts instead of Doug's heart. And so he's like, I guess I'll just go on this date because Kay loves me now. And
well, it wasn't like, oh, she's so aggressive. And I'm like,
yeah.
What? Dude.
Yeah, okay, he's probably overdoing it, but in a situation like that, you would stop and think, does she like me or not? But not as aggressive as he was.
Right, basically.
Didn't she say, like, I'm so glad that I work with you? And he's like, oh, fuck. She's aggressive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah, she's just being, like, generally nice to him. And he's like, oh my god, she's coming on to me so hard.
She wants the dick right now. Like,
It turns out all she wanted was some good food.
Yes.
And, like, a reason to go into restaurants, not by herself.
It is hard to go into a restaurant by yourself. I feel that girl.
Yeah.
Like, of course she wanted, like, someone. Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about that with Yotsuro Biori, about going into a restaurant by yourself, how hard that is sometimes. So
exactly.
you want somebody with you. So now that it seems like the 7-0 detectives have been tricked, it's revealed that Harry Bottoms, the union leader, is actually the one making deals with the Bamboo Man to sell Anthem. However, Doug has been tailing them because he had a suspicion. He explains the way he was tipped off about all this was the book that Harry was carrying, because not the name of the book or anything. It's like a fake book. I tried to look it up. It's just that it's an extremely valuable limited edition of the book.
Doesn't
that
he say,
clearly cost a ton of money.
You could buy a year's worth of socks with the book or something? And I was like, what?
Yeah. Well,
What?
Harry Bottoms made the comment earlier they weren't making enough money that he couldn't even buy socks for himself.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
where the fuck is the socks thing coming from?
Yeah, that's where it came from.
Okay.
Yeah, they had holes in their socks and stuff. Yeah. So he put the rest together kind of after that suspicious thing happening. So Harry gets away briefly, and he calls the factory foreman to tell him, get rid of all the evidence. And it turns out, their hiding spot for all of that stuff was underneath that clean conveyor belt, which, lifts up. But before the foreman can decide what to do, the Bamboo Man arrives, and he slaps some anthem on him. And it seems like the anthem is a patch that has two sides, because he's one side takes you to hell and the other to heaven. And
It looks like a Tide Pod.
It
does look
did!
like a Tide Pod.
I thought that
It looks
too!
Totally a Tide Pod.
Oh my god.
Just like a Tide Pod. You think
So-
that's on purpose and they're trying to be memey with it?
I mean, maybe. The whole show is kind of memey.
That would be hilarious if they did that on purpose. Oh my gosh.
So the foreman is hit with the hellish side, right? And so as Kay and Kirill are returning from dinner, Harry runs into them and he draws a gun, ordering them to back inside the factory to gather up all the anthem for him from in the hiding place. Doug arrives on the scene, but quickly comes under attack by the foreman, whose name is Tommy. And he's now this huge blob person with a tail because of the anthem overdrive. And
That's
so
weird.
he gets into a big fight. But Kirill is heroic. He distracts Tommy, giving Doug just enough time to shoot him with his medicine bullets. And so, yeah, that basically resolves the whole situation. In the
Medicine
end-
bullets. That's such a
Yeah, I
contradicting
know.
name.
When I was typing that earlier, I was like, oh my god, this is so messed up to say, but I'm saying it because that's what they are. So, in the end, it turns out the factory, GG Oil is the name of the company, which is also kind of memey, was just a subcontractor to put the anthem into little pouches like Tide Pods. And so, in the end, the union workers take over the factory for themselves, which is kind of unrealistic, but whatever.
Wait, I thought they were rebuilding it because it got destroyed.
I mean, it said that they basically are taking it over or rebuilding it, and they are now the ownership, basically, which was kind of weird. I don't know.
I'm kind of was confused on how the strike guy, the Harry Bottoms guy, was working with the head of the factory, how that worked, because I guess it's vague on purpose, because I'm thinking if Harry is the one who was planning everything, then how would he need the owner of the factory, and why would the owner of the factory need Harry, and how do they know each other well enough that they're working together? I don't know. And why need the strike if they're? Yeah, it was weird.
So this is how it works in my mind. Harry got into contact with the Bamboo Man, who supplied him with the drug, but it still needed to be packaged, and he needed a place to get it packaged. So that's why he got Tommy on board, because Tommy controlled the factory.
Mm-hmm. And I could tell he wasn't telling Tommy everything, because I think there's a point in the middle where he's like, "Are these really that dangerous or whatever?" And he's like,
Right.
"Yes," but I don't know. How do they?
For the money.
Why do they need the strike if they're because obviously Harry is the one who's making the strike happen. So why is it advantageous to him to have this strike going on?
To get the people out of the factory so they can make the drugs.
Exactly. So you have as few people as possible knowing about the illicit operation going on in the factory, basically.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense to me, because I was like, okay, I don't really understand this whole. There's too many flashing lights. There's not enough explanation. Yeah. All right, makes sense.
Also, at the very last scene, Kirill gets a super sweet new gun from Doug. It's little tiny gun that even he can fire without flying across the room. So yeah.
Oh, with the colors, isn't it painted an
the
airsoft
purple
gun?
gold.
Yeah, and I'm kind of and then he does whoosh whoosh again, and I'm just dude, stop it! No one's gonna take you seriously.
Leo, didn't that look like a gun you would get from defeating like Callus in the first raid in Destiny 2?
Yes, it looks like the same theme from that raid. You are right.
It's the same exact theme.
It would have been like, what, a sidearm?
Yeah, basically. It looks like one.
Guys want to talk about the next show?
Sure.
Sure.
All right, Mondays. We have The Girl in Twilight. Episode 3, Before the Wedding Bells Ring. And there are too many Asukas in this episode. So, the girls tell Nana that this isn't her world and she doesn't... And then Nana's like, she doesn't care. She's not going to go back because she's finally gets like to marry a celebrity, you know. She's just like, wow, this is awesome. This is what I wanted. But then like Twilight Asuka shows up and tells the girls if she stays, she will go missing in their original world. So that would have been, you know, that's kind of bummer. It's like, you know, her parents would be like, where'd she go? She disappeared.
Yeah.
So the next day, Nana goes to fill out the marriage registration form and kind of freaks out when she sees the guy's real name is Tomoya Chiyokoba. So she leaves the house and finds the other girls back at the shrine. And why she's freaking out is because if you put her name after her new last name, you get Chiyokoba Nana, which is chocolate banana.
I was like, what a dumb reason to change your mind. Like, if you're head over heels and he's hot and that's why you want to marry him, like, who cares? Like, I don't know.
I like her reasoning because she's like, my name already sounds ridiculous because it's Nana Nanase after her mom remarried.
Yeah.
So it has like 4 Nas in it. And she's like, the one thing I wanted was for my name not to sound more ridiculous when I got married. And she's like, I can't have this.
Yeah, Nana say Nana. She's like, too many Nanas already.
I guess I get it.
It just fucking made me laugh.
Yeah, I know.
So she's deciding to go back with him, but then the marriage enforcement agency shows up and takes Nana against her will. I guess they're there to enforce the marriage things always go well.
Kind of reminds me of that anime Love and Lies, where they had like the marriage enforcement police or whatever. You know, like
same premise. The girls seek out Twilight Asuka, and find her killing the evil bunny things that came through like a little rift or something, and she calls them noisies. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I saw these, and all that made me think of was that white rabbit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
I mean, they don't. Man. I don't know. I guess they kind of look like Monty Python rabbits. I don't know. They do have the eyes.
I have a picture right here in the dock just for you, Kat.
They attack them just like those rabbits. Like,
yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But Twilight Asuka is also looking for something called clutters that happen around these tears, and what they do is then they destroy the worlds. And however,
okay, so like,
and what?
So I guess the clutters make tears, correct?
I think so.
Okay.
I think the tears just kind of either that or the tears just kind of happen when they're in the world. Somehow they're involved. Practically, I guess.
So this is my understanding. My understanding is that there's this King of Twilight dude. He is making these clutters, and the clutters go out and cause tears in the different universes. That's my understanding.
Right. Kinda. That's kind of how I thought it too.
Okay, because it was a weird explanation. It wasn't the best.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
There we go.
Her world is on the brink of being destroyed, and she can save it if she can find and kill a King of Twilight that might be around these clutters. That's how she explains it. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't the greatest. So they see that world's Asuka getting ready to like come into the cafe that they're in. So they hide the other two under the table. And then that world's Asuka comes in and tells them that they have expedited Nana's wedding to like right now. And then like the other Asukas came out from under the table, and that world Asuka's like her horoscope or something like said I would meet a new version of myself today or something like that.
She's gonna be a horoscope believer for a long time now.
I mean, that's some pretty good evidence on your side.
Yeah.
So yeah, then we jump to Nana sitting in the room in her wedding dress, waiting for it to start, and her father stops by before the wedding and gives her something he found in the trash right after he moved in. It turns out it's a crystal radio that her real dad used, and explains why she had, and this explains why she had an interest in the first place when she went to Asuka's club and was actually looking at the crystal transmitter. I also think it's funny to note that Asuka had to say hi to her for 2 months before she acknowledged her again every single day.
Yeah, because like at first, like when they asked her like why she would ever joined the club in the first place, like she was just like, well, you bothered me for 2 months, like that was the only reason. But then like I liked that they actually pointed out like no, she had a very personal reason for wanting to join the club. I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah. So the wedding starts, and when it gets to Nana to say I do, she doesn't. She's like, I don't, and then like runs off, and that's like when Asuka comes bursting in the door, and they like hug each other or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then Twilight Asuka comes in, and she transforms with her little Sony Walkman.
Yeah.
And hits Tomoya, like bashes him right in the face. But he turns out he was the clutter the whole time.
Yeah.
Then he does his little transformation thing, and they end up in the Twilight world for the battle. And like Twilight Asuka just like gets taken out like very, very quickly. But then like Nana, because she kind of overcame her own, resolved some issues. I don't know, whatever. Basically, when they go in the worlds and they solve the problems, then they get the ability, which is called the equalizing state. So what she got was her own little cassette. So she puts it in the Walkman, she transforms herself, and her theme is kind of like the wedding theme a little bit. It's kind of neat. Like her weapon in her right hand was like a bouquet of like roses or something like that is what it looked like. But she does end up beating him, and he disappears, but he leaves behind like this little crystal that Twilight Asuka picks up. They don't say what it is yet. Then they go back to their world, and then Nana like officially submits her form to join the club, and then it just kind of ends on that. So like I guess Nana's like really accepting of them now. So
yeah, I liked the little bit with like her dad having one of those like little radio things.
Yeah, for sure.
That was cute. I don't know. I feel like this whole episode is like Girl in the Twilight X Love and Lies, because like isn't this alternate reality basically Love and Lies?
Yeah, in a lot of ways it's very similar. Yeah,
and that was kind of funny. I was almost like, did they just do that like on purpose? It was interesting. Also, I kind of felt like it was too convenient that he was a clutter. I was kind of like, but I mean, I'll let it pass. It's whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not really surprising that Japan likes this idea, because, I mean, they're trying to make people have kids, so why not force people to marry?
Yeah, it's definitely a theme that's been on like the Japanese public's mind for a while. So
yeah,
the whole idea of like, should we just force people to get married and have kids, like to fix our economic problems?
FYI, Japan, it won't turn out well if you decide to do that.
Yeah, that's a very bad idea.
Exactly.
I really like the designs of the Twilight outfits, like the new one that Nana got and like the one that Asuka already had. That they're like kind of like retro futuristic. Same with like the Sony Walkman that gives them like the power to transform. Like it's very cool. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just continue to adore the OP for this show. I don't know what it is. I just really like the song. It's a good vocal, and I'm a sucker for like characters that are standing and looking away from the screen, but then there's like a transparent like close up of their face. Like I love that in OPs. It's such like a meme that I love. I don't know. It's great.
I don't know if I've watched this OP yet. I'll check it out next time.
Oh yeah, check it out next time. It's good. Really catchy song. And like, yeah, I thought this arc was pretty decent at like introducing all the concepts that are weird, like clutters and noisies and the King of Twilight and all that. But I think some of the other girls might actually have more interesting arcs, so I'm excited to see what they do.
I thought it was kind of interesting you did Nana's arc first.
Yeah.
Because she was, I don't know, she's kind of more the
stuck-up
one of the group.
Well, because like in every group, there's like that one person who's like the least important. Kind of like how in Sailor Moon, there's like the main Sailor Scouts and then like all the others, but the others aren't as important as the main ones.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it is weird that they picked like someone on the fringes first. But
yeah, that's true.
But I like Nana.
Wild West next.
Yeah. I think they kind of proved that like she's not as airheaded and flaky as you first see her as. So.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
which is good. Giving depth to the character is always a good thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Should we move on?
Yes.
Anything else to say? All right. So, Golden Kamuy second season. We've got episode 15.
This
Golden
character list is getting
Kamuy.
fucking long.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the character list is now, 20 characters long. So, that's great. So, let's talk about the past, is the title of this episode. The whole... What?
Just kind of... This episode was kind of to me. I didn't think it was that great.
It wasn't the
like
best
the
one. There wasn't as many jokes.
Yeah, there wasn't any dick jokes.
Yeah. So the whole first part of the episode is a showdown at Edo Guy's house. The crazy guy who had skins on his face and everything, whatever, last episode.
There's another guy with skins on his face and ears specifically.
So the taxidermist guy with skins on his face. His house. So Hijikata, Ogata, and Ienaga, they're all searching there for clues about the fake skins. And a bunch of Tsurumi's troops show up to destroy the evidence, which are like these specific types of berries used in the tannin process. So they throw Molotovs inside and it lights on fire. And then there's like a bit of a scuffle between the two groups. The main fight is basically between that soldier who got his ears cut off a long time ago.
Nikaido, I think.
Yeah. He now wears this headgear that has like an ear on his chin also, which is insane.
Was weird.
He's
talking to constantly.
Yeah.
I
He
swear
ends up sneaking
everyone
up to,
in this anime has like a freaking mental disorder. Like being in this anime causes people to go insane. That's what it is.
That's what it's doing to Bcom as we make them watch it.
I think the author of the anime is insane, which is like a much easier explanation for all of this.
Maybe.
The author of the manga, I mean. So, yeah, that crazy guy, he gets stabbed by Ogata, who was, like, sniping people. He went upstairs to try and take him down, and he gets stabbed. But he then gets away, but then Hijikata sees him and cuts, like, his foot, like, clean off. Yet this guy, like... When the house burns down, he still manages to, like, crawl away and survive.
He was, like, singing the
like,
I
they even
Will
show a little
Survive
scene of him
song.
crawling.
He's like, I'll just continue to get parts cut off of me, but I'll survive.
Speaking of Monty Python references, he's like the Black Knight from Monty Python.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So, with the help of Sugimoto, who shows up, they escape, but they learn nothing about the fake skins. So they realize they only have one option now, which is to go to Noparabo directly to ask him about the skins, which ones are the real ones. So Sugimoto tells Hijikata that he just wants a small cut of the gold. That's all he really wants. He's really just more invested in Asurpa finding out the truth about her family. So Hijikata and all of them are essentially allies now. And so as they escape the woods, there's some comedy relief when they come across these woodcock birds.
Also, why do they have to be called woodcock birds?
Look, Kat, grow up. So, why they have to be called woodcock birds, because they're in this show. That's why.
Of course.
They are a real thing, though.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. They had like a Japanese name too, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But except it looks like it's an American woodcock, so they wouldn't be over there.
Well, they were like, what's a bird with a weird sounding name that sounds slightly pervy? Put it in the anime. Go.
Yeah, and Asurpa's like, don't shoot them to Ogata, right? And because like she has this Ainu way of catching more of them, which is to set traps, which takes advantage of the fact that they like poke their beaks into the ground everywhere, especially where there's like lots of like bundles of sticks around and stuff. And so this kind of leads into this unofficial competition because Ogata didn't like being told that his way was worse. So Asurpa catches 2 of the birds with her traps, but Ogata shoots 3. Which is apparently hard because they like zigzag when they fly in the air, and he's pretty smug about it. So Sugimoto gets mad at him, and Asurpa tells Sugimoto, "You're just jealous because you can't hit shit with a gun."
Yeah,
that was good. And so then Asurpa's like really gung ho about getting Sugimoto and Ushiyama to try the woodcock brains, which are a big Ainu delicacy. But Ogata is not having it. He will not try. And then the serpent is trying to teach them how to make chitatap out of the birds' bodies. And she's like, you have to say chitatap every time when you tap the knives on the little corpse of that bird. And Ogata's like, nope, I'm not going to say it. He'll cut it up, but he won't say it.
Doesn't Sugimoto like tell on him?
Yeah, he's like, he's not saying cheetah tap, he does it.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. So, and meanwhile, while this is happening, Boner, or Chikapasi, is following Tanigaki and Inkarmat around. And Inkarmat says, like, we should pretend to be a family. So Boner decides that he's Inkarmat's little sister.
Yes!
Or little brother, sorry. Little sister, sorry.
He won't stop, like, adding that weird thing about how, like, oh, and you'll be my sister.
And she doesn't mind.
And you don't mind if I grab your boobs. I'm like, what? Dude!
Yep.
That's so weird.
Yeah, and, like, Tanigaki is, like, supposed to be their father's brother or something in this, like, idea he comes up with, but he's like, that's way too complicated, and they end up just making him be some guy from next door, and he's like, oh, I'm not even part of the family then, this is dumb. So ridiculous. So the last part of the episode is what kind of really matters, I feel like, because it involves this big flashback that Shinpachi Nagakura has about the time he found out that Hijikata was still alive at a prison called Kobato, which was run by this ruthless warden guy named Inudo Shirosuke. And the warden hates Hijikata because his brother fought for the government in what was called like the New Hakodate War in a fight against the Shinsengumi. And so Inudo has been keeping Hijikata alive and in captivity ever since then as punishment. As a note, in real life, Hijikata, like the real life Hijikata, fought and died in the Battle of Hakodate on like June 20th, 1869. So this is like an alternate history in Golden Kamuy where Hijikata survived that battle and has lived this long.
Interesting.
So we find out that the warden left to go to Abashiri prison where Noparabo is being kept, so we'll definitely see him again. But yeah, the chief guard of Kobata prison, this is many years earlier, or when they hooked back up, basically. He allows Nagakura to speak with Hijikata, who had saved him like many, many years ago, in 1869. So it's a pretty cool scene, right? Because they're talking about their past, and they suddenly appear as younger versions of themselves. And they're talking about how Hijikata like taught Nagakura to chase after women and stuff. Mm-hmm. And Nagakura was mostly interested, though, in this last fight he had with Hijikata, and Hijikata's way of preventing Nagakura from following him to his death. Is that something that he planned, or is that just something that happened? And Hijikata basically just jokes with him that, like, I just didn't like you because you were an idiot. That's why I told you to stay out of things. But, like, you could tell he was trying to, like, save him, is the idea. And, like, this guy Kondo, who Nagakura was talking about having disagreements with, was the commander of the Shinsengumi at the time, who, in real life, was also executed by Imperial troops, like, in 1868. So, yeah, this whole thing is kind of a fantasy scene where Shinpachi Nagakura, who actually lived on until 1915 in real life, gets to ask his old friend about why he was the only one to survive. But, yeah, so in the end, it turns out that Shiraishi is going to be the key to getting everyone into Abashiri prison to speak with Noparabo, because he like can break in there. But he's feeling super guilty about going behind Sugimoto's back, and he has like this nightmare where Sugimoto's like stabbing the shit out of him to death. But he doesn't have much time to think about all this, because like he wakes up and jumps out his window to like run away, and then Tsurumi's men are all outside and catch him. So yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But so did anyone notice that even in Shiraishi's dream, he gets called an idiot, like in his own dream?
He's
like,
pretty used to
it. He's used to it, right?
Well, but like if you're having a dream like about yourself, like wouldn't you want it to be like, oh, I'm so cool?
Well, it's a nightmare, Kat.
Yeah,
it's a nightmare.
But it turns into a nightmare. It's not a nightmare the whole time. So you would think like they'd all be going, oh yeah, you're so cool, Shiraishi, you're gonna get us into the thing, you're the man or whatever. But no, they still call him an idiot.
Well, sometimes your brain tries to make your dreams feel realistic to you, right? So, because like if people didn't call him an idiot, he would be like, "All right, this is a dream," and he would wake up.
This is a dream. This could never happen in real life.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
This show continues to be completely ridiculous, but I did like the reading about the history of these Shinsengumi guys because of this episode. That was fun. So yeah, maybe not the most wacky and crazy episode, but that's why I liked it, because it was down to earth and meaningful, and you guys hated it. I'm so sad.
We just wanted pervy jokes. Bcom. Don't you understand?
We have a kid named Boner and a Woodcocks, all right? That's enough dick jokes for one fucking episode. God damn it. All right. We should move on, though, to the next episode, Run with the Winds.
We should run right past it.
No, we should not. It's fantastic.
Just because you don't like the show, you need to hush. This is going to be the planet width of this season, isn't it? I'm going to keep getting pissed off at you.
I hope not.
Because you keep
I don't know. Did you see how much Bcom and I quarreled today?
Oh,
we
I
didn't really quarrel. We just had like a reasonable conversation about this show. That's all.
You were trying to be reasonable, Bcom. Leo was like,
I
just don't like it. Like,
because I don't want another planet with Cat. I don't want another planet with.
It'll end up that way because Leo's stubborn as fuck.
I believe in Leo. I Leo
was giving my
will
reasons
change his mind.
in Leo.
I had reasons are perfectly good, and then Bcom decides to compare them to a zombie idol show, and I'm like, they're not even the same shows.
He had good points. You just didn't want to.
Yeah, and I shot him down.
You think you did. You think, all right, let's talk about the show so then we can argue about the show.
So, episode 3, A Single Flower. So, Haiji wants to plan a practice regimen for each of these, people who are going to be running in the Hakone race. And so he gets them all to come out like first thing in the morning to test their current level so he can plan individually for what they need to work on. So he wants them to run 10 kilometers in all, round trip. Like 5 there, 5 back. And
kill me.
They're like freaking out.
Okay,
yeah.
I was... Did you say kilometers?
Yes.
You can say kilometers or kilometers. It's fine.
I don't know. Is it supposed to be kilometers? Which is like, okay, so it's like 6 miles. A little more than 6 miles. That's a lot. That's a long run. It is. So, And Prince is like, no. Where has our human dignity gone? I'm not doing this. F this. And like, Haiji's like, if you could yell that much first thing in the morning, you could do it.
I also love that Prince is just wearing this white t-shirt with black letters on it. It just says, why? ? Like
he special ordered it and had it like overnight delivered just so he could wear it. That's his like silent protest. I don't know. So they all do it, which you do have a point, Leo, in that like why are they all continue to do this? Like, if anything, we all have to give it to Haiji because like he has some weird power to make them continue to do things that they don't want to do. Because they're like, especially the first day, like later they start to all get into it, and you see that in this episode. But especially the first day, like none of them are into it, but they do it anyway.
Well, I mean, running sucks, right? Like nobody's gonna be into running freaking 6 miles at first.
Well, but like, they're not into the goal. Like they're not committed, but Haiji still gets them to try. So you can tell he's a good leader, even though he's obnoxious as all hell, just by the fact that he gets them to do this somehow.
Yeah, he's a good leader, and I think that those guys want to prove it to themselves that they could do something like this. Like, they want to see are we capable of doing this? I know this guy's crazy, but are we capable of doing this? Because that would be pretty cool.
I don't get that from any of them. Isn't he blackmailing them in some way?
Well, he kind of was, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they start to actually
that's why they're running. They don't want to fucking be here.
It's like Stockholm syndrome, right? Like you start something, you don't like it, but even if you hated it and someone made you do it, like maybe later on you start to like it.
Well, with this anime, I expect them all to later on by the end be like into running or doing this race, but like I just, there should be so much more resistance earlier on.
I mean, how many things have you done in your life that you didn't want to do at first, but then you came to love? Because like that's happened for me many times. Like I remember when I was like 5 years old and my parents were like, you're going to practice piano. You're going to take piano lessons. I was like, I don't want to play piano, Mom and Dad. This sucks. I don't want to practice. And then I grew to like completely love piano. It's like one of my favorite things. Like, but there's a lot of things that like people will make you do at first and then you grow to love it.
Yeah.
So I find this to be somewhat realistic, even, and like we've been shown all of the ways that he's like manipulated or seduced people into doing this, like with promises of women, or like I'm gonna go to your Kat's gonna talk about it with like the clubbing guy, but
yeah. Well, that's like half threat, half I don't know. It's interesting, but yeah. So like, okay, so they all run the first day. So I thought it was interesting the twins are the ones who get there first, because that was not what I thought would happen. I thought it would be... So I think Kakuryu gets there first and then the twins. But like, I thought... I didn't think the twins would be the most athletic of that group. You know?
I was going to say they looked the most athletic. What are you talking about?
I don't know. It just... They seemed to be kind of like they didn't give too much of a shit. So I was like...
Weren't they soccer players or something? I can't remember. I think they were soccer players.
Yeah, but Kat, I believe they were then competed against each other to see who got there first. So that's why they were fast.
Maybe.
Fast. Yeah.
Then the brown-haired guy, who I can't remember his name yet. I find it good though that I remember most of the people's names. Oh, is his name?
I think that's Takashi.
Yeah, it's Takashi. And then Musa get there like third and fourth. So that's good. So you kind of see at the beginning like who starts out the best. The rest of them struggle a lot, especially like Prince and the ponytail guy, Hirata. Oh god. Well, he's a smoker, so of course.
He's a fucking chain smoker.
Yeah.
He's like coughing up a lung. There's like a tar coming out of his body. Like it's pretty great.
There's one point where like Haiji takes his cigarettes away, and I'm just like, that's not gonna end well. Like, I get what you're trying to do. You can't, smoke or whatever if you're going to run this marathon, but like, that's going to come to a head because like you can't just take away someone's cigarette.
I don't know any smoker that would be like, give me that fucking cigarette back now.
Yeah,
everyone I know.
I mean, because in the anime, they're like, he's like, oh, okay, like he's not going to fight that much, and I'm just like, that's not how that would go at all. Like,
so I think it would go that way here, because in the first 2 episodes, you saw him stop smoking. Like, somebody came into his room, and he pretended to be smoking still, but he had already started quitting. So when he takes the cigarettes away, I think that's like, oh, he's just helping me out, because I've already tried to start quitting anyway.
Well,
so I think he would be more open to it.
Anyone who's been around someone who's tried to quit smoking, it's not that easy. It's just not. So, but anyway... So at this point, when they get to the place, so they're halfway through their first practice round, which is 5 kilometers, Kakuryu gets really mad at everyone, and he points out that like each section of the Hakone is 20 kilometers, and they're going to have to run against all these other teams who've trained like very intensely for much longer, and how hard it was for them to run even like 5 kilometers. There's no way we can do the Hakone. And, he has a point. And then they all get back and they are eating breakfast. And they're talking about how most universities that do Hakone, like every year, everyone in that team can run 5,000 meters in less than 14 and a half minutes. So like 3 minutes per kilometer, which is intense.
Fast.
Yeah. But yeah, and then, I love this part. So they're still eating breakfast. And then one of the twins goes, I bet there are a lot of guys like that where you're from, Musa. And then Musa, to his credit, is like, prejudice. And it was shocking to me to see that Japan is even acknowledging issues like this at all, even as a half joke. And I was like, oh, is Japan becoming aware? Like, oh my god!
We're watching it in real time, Kat.
I know!
The awakening. I noticed that too. Yeah, that's rare for an anime for sure.
Oh, I know. Yeah. So that was interesting. Yeah. So Kakeru didn't actually eat with the rest of them because he doesn't want to owe anyone any favors. He's such a dramatic little bitch sometimes. I'm like, calm down.
He is.
So then the next day, Yuki doesn't come because he went out clubbing and he never came home. So Kakeru just goes without everyone else while Haiji goes to look for who is missing and drag them out, basically. And while Kakeru is running alone, this girl comes running down this like really steep incline. I'm shocked she didn't fall. I would have fallen.
Have you ever done that? Like run down a really steep hill? Because I've done that, and it is intense. Very easy to like tumble and fall.
Yeah, like that's not safe. But she's like, "Are you on the Kansai track team? Oh my god!" And it's pretty obvious that they all think she's hot, and like even Kakeru at one point like says, "Oh, I just couldn't ignore her," and like all the other guys when they catch up are just obsessed with her immediately. And apparently she's like the daughter of the vegetable vendor. And this was smart of Haiji, because you could tell Haiji like arranged for her to come. And they're all just obsessed with her and like much more motivated. And I'm just like, yeah, you made a good call there, Haiji.
He's a smart dude.
But boys are dumb, because like having a girl watch them run I don't know. Boys are dumb.
Oh, it works though, Kat. Trust. Like you're at the gym and you got a cute girl on the treadmill next to you. You are running faster than you plan to run at that time.
Okay. Whatever. Yeah. So then Haiji goes and drags Yuki out of this club, which kind of confused me because would he still be dancing at like 5 a.m.? I don't think so. Most clubs kick you out at like 3.
Yeah, typically.
The timeline of that was kind of weird. Yuki is angry because he doesn't want to do the Hakone, and he's like, "Leave me alone! You're not my dad! I don't have to do what you say!" and Haiji claims he doesn't intend to unilaterally impose my will on you, which I think we all know is bullshit.
Yeah.
Haiji says he will come clubbing with him every day since it's only fair, since Yuki is coming to practice. And Yuki's face just goes white, and he's just like, no.
Basically, yes.
Oh my gosh.
You can't stop him from doing it, and so he's just like, fine, I give in.
Yeah, so then he's like, okay, I'll start coming to practice. So then on day 3, all of the guys except Prince are like hyped because that girl is there. And they all are like, yeah, let's start practice. And I'm just like, these dudes are stupid. And yeah, like even the twins especially like are so into this now, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna do this because we're gonna get girlfriends." I'm just like, you guys are really not smart. Later in the bath, they talk about how they first are going to have to pass the qualifier before they can even run the Hakone, since they didn't like their school didn't go last year. So there are 50-ish schools that are going to participate, and only 9 of them are going to pass this qualifier. So this is going to be a tough race. And like even to qualify for the qualifier, okay, that's another layer. They have to have an official record of finishing 5,000 meters in less than 16 minutes 30 seconds, or 10,000 meters in 30 minutes. So,
which is even, I don't get that, because that's even a faster pace.
I thought that
that's
too.
15 minutes.
I was like, why
what?
is it 10,000? Yeah, that was weird. I agree.
Yeah, I didn't understand that, but whatever, you know.
Yeah. But then Kakeru gets kind of angry after they all get out of the bath, and they're like have the towels around them in traditional Japanese style. And he's like, Haiji's being reckless, and he's all angry. And the rest of them are kind of like into it now, and so they're trying to encourage him, like Kakeru, to actually work with the rest of the team. And Kakeru kind of gets all Sasuke-ish, and it's like, I don't work well with others, and like dramatically storms off to be emo or whatever. And the next day, Kakeru leaves before everyone else. And it's kind of clear, like, while he wants to run and he really enjoys running, like, he doesn't want to be a part of any team, probably due to some messed up thing that happened. And, like, that's confirmed immediately because as he's running alone, he meets up with some red-haired guy and is, like, really shaken up by this. And that's the end of this episode. So.
Yeah. I'm glad that the other guys confronted Kakeru because, like, his constant negativity, like, I understand why he feels so negatively about this because he knows that it's very unrealistic for them to get in shape in time to run this ridiculous race, but he's just so constantly being negative. So when they were finally like, hey, bro, what are you afraid of? Like, we're the ones who are doing all this work. Why are you, like, constantly yelling at us? Like, you're fine. You're a fast runner. And he's just like, I don't work well with others. And it's like, he has to go think about things for himself a little bit, I think.
Yeah. It's just interesting to see the teams take shape so soon in the anime. Also, these characters are so well fleshed out for just this being the third episode. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good, especially with this big of a group of characters. And the law student, Yuki, like, I like when he comes to practice or whatever, and he's like, he sees the girl there, and he's like, Haiji's forcing us to run, and that's already a human rights violation, but now he's showing off his girlfriend, too? It's like, goddamn. He was super pissed. But of course, it's not his girlfriend.
Of all of these guys, and I've thought about this, Yuki is definitely the hottest one.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty cool guy, I have to say.
Yeah.
Law student going
I thought about this a lot. I debated. It was a tough decision.
Internal thinking.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, my favorite character right now is probably Prince. Because he's ridiculous.
That's funny that that's your favorite.
I mean, he's just so... he reminds me of Tanaka-kun from Tanaka-kun is Always Listless. And it's just hilarious to see him being, like, forced to run because otherwise, like, he will lose his apartment and have to move all of his mountains of manga somewhere. So, yeah.
What about you, Leo? What's your favorite?
Hanako, because she's the only one I don't hate.
She is pretty cute. I like her, too.
Okay.
All right, is that everything before the break?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we'll be right back after these messages from our podcaster friends.
All right, see you soon.
Warning, the following clip may contain descriptions of explicit behavior conducted by Bishi boys.
Now, that's not to say he didn't get physical. Quite the opposite, in fact. Our boy Kent was researching all the ways to please a woman.
Pulled his lever.
And he put some of that learning into effect, if you know what I mean. Let me give you a scene from the show that I really quite liked. My research shows that women find it pleasurable if men place their fingers here, then apply some pressure and begin to rub that area. Do you enjoy that? Is it giving you pleasure? Please respond. I need verbal... Please respond. I gotta get this out. Get it out. Please respond. I need verbal confirmation that this is something that you enjoy. Heroine Sadie tells him that it's hurting her as he's rubbing her too vigorously. Ow. Despondent Ken removes his fingers and looks at them. Perhaps I applied too much pressure. Don't worry, Kent. Head pats are difficult to master.
And that was Yata from the Reanimator Pod. If you want to hear more, you can check out our website. That's reanimatorpod.com. We release new episodes every Monday.
Don't drop that. Hey, don't drop that.
Here's a salami pizza we found in the garbage.
Yeah, they're going to go to the park late at night. Nothing wrong could happen there.
Nothing bad ever happens at the park late at night.
It's Japan. It's safe there.
Yeah, sure. Safe.
The tentacle monsters only come out in your bedroom at
night. You haven't watched a whole lot of hentai, have you?
No, I haven't.
They catch you at school, too.
You can find the Trash Pandas Watch Anime podcast on FaceTube, uBook, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and iTunes. And on Twitter, at Trash Panda Anime. Oh, we also have a website, tpwapodcast.com.
Hey Colin, did you get the cardboard cutout of Consul Kev? Did I ever? It's amazing.
Oh, I think so too. I hate that guy. Kevin, what are you doing here?
Just eavesdropping on all the, the bad things you say about me. My usual Wednesday.
Oh, well, did you at least prepare for the Retro Gaming Podcast?
Absolutely not.
Oh, God, that figures. All right, it's okay. I'll take it from here. Basically, we pick a theme every time, and we pick a number of games based on that theme. Just like our first episode where it lasted forever and we talked about space games.
Yeah, and other good, all the mainstream systems and games you love, like the 3DO, the Atari Jaguar.
Oh, come on. Colin, you back me up here. The 3DO is awesome, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were friends. I mean, it's cool. All right.
If you want to hear three guys talk about games that are bad because JD picked them all, and good games that Kevin picked, join us.
Who here wants to see a bunch of nerds talking video games with a little bit of anime thrown in there? Nobody? Just me? Damn!
Well, speaking of anime, Colin, we have an anime cast as well.
Yes, we do. All retro anime. Many of which I have never heard of myself. And I'm a weeb!
Very similar premise there. We pick a retro anime, at least 15 years or older, and we review it every episode. We also keep up on all the modern stuff, all the seasonal things from the year. Hey, Kevin, you just got back into wrestling, right?
I did.
Oh my god, did you know we also have a wrestling cast that just started?
I do now, because nobody tells me anything.
Well, what do you think of the big dog these days?
He still sucks.
Well, that's good. Well, luckily, we just don't complain about WWE stuff. We also talk about a lot of the latest and greatest from the rising indie scene, New Japan, and Ring of Honor.
I like rings and honor.
Well, you should definitely listen to the Red Leaf Retrocast. We have such a wide range of topics, ideas to discuss, and just anything to review. It's fantastic, don't you guys think so?
It's alright!
Absolutely. And thanks again for the Sailor Moon episode. That's got me a lifetime supply of salt for my fries. From the fans. Ha!
That's the Red Leaf Retrocast. All things gaming, anime, and wrestling, found on all your favorite podcasting websites.
Alright, we're back. Okay, and we're going to start it right off with Rascal does not dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. So, episode 3, The World Without You. Okay, so Sakuta wakes up next to Mae, and he couldn't sleep. And I'm like, okay.
That was very realistic. Very realistic.
I mean,
like if I was in a bed next to this like gorgeous high school girl who I have a crush on, and she was just like, all right, I'm gonna go to sleep now, and I would be sitting there thinking the entire night. When I was in high school, I would have anyway. Like, there's no way.
I don't know if I could say for myself. My ability to sleep is very strong.
Yeah, I would have been fine, but it's cute. Like, all of their witty quips, like, are really adorable. Like, as a couple, they're really sweet together. You have to admit.
They are. Yeah.
Because they go back and forth a lot, especially in the first part of this episode, and it's just adorable. So we learn, like, I think on the train ride back, that Sakuta and his sister are living alone because their parents couldn't handle all the stuff with the sister, which was interesting to find out. Like, it's a little stereotypical, but also sad. So.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Also, their parents are shitty for abandoning their children.
That too.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously. But yeah, so when Mai and Sakuta actually get back to the school, he and Futaba are the only two people who actually still can remember that Maya even exists. Because apparently neither of them slept. Like, apparently Futaba also didn't sleep for whatever reason. And basically Futaba is saying, like, the phenomena started at school because everyone was ignoring Mai as if she didn't exist, right? Because, like, she hadn't been there before, and she came back, and everyone had already established their little groups, as happens at every school. And so, like, no one was going to let her in their group. And then, like, it started spreading outside the school, and that's how it started. And then sleep is the catalyst for memory loss, and people are no longer remembering that she even existed after they sleep. So it's an interesting idea in that it's like this debate on if no one can see you or hear you, do you still exist? And it kind of reminds me of like the tree in the forest idea. Like if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, does it make a sound?
Yes.
I believe it does too. So it's like the idea that without society,
the thing about that one is, it's like, I know basic physics.
I know. Yeah. Well, but the idea is that
it's like the idea with the Schrodinger's cat thing, because it's like there's no way to observe it, so it doesn't make a sound until it's observed making a sound. Is like the philosophical idea, but like I also believe it makes a sound.
Yeah, it's like that. The idea in this sense is that like without society affirming your existence, you do not exist, and that kind of freaks me out. Like I don't agree with that, because people should be valued for their own inherent like existence, not just what they do and how they interact with the society and the people around them. You know, people have inherent value in and of themselves, not just on what they do. But I also understand that for a lot of purposes, it's not untrue that like what you do affirms your existence. So, you know, it's whatever. It's an idea. It's a valid philosophical argument that they're basing this on. I don't personally agree with it, but it's valid. At this point, Sakuta realizes that he can't sleep ever, or he'll forget Mai too, just like everyone else. So he kind of freaks out, and he writes this account of everything that's happened in his notebook. So because he kind of realizes, like, well, I can't not sleep forever. Like, eventually I'm going to have to sleep, and like, hopefully this will help. In the meantime, like, he tries not to sleep for as long as possible. He's like popping pills, drinking energy drinks, like everything he can do. And I bet he is so fucked on those exams. Like, so hardcore fucked. Like, oh man. Because he goes like 3 days without sleep. And he's just trying to like stay awake in the middle of those I'm like, he is done. Like, there's no way. I mean, he's a teenager, but like 3 days without sleep, that's tough. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
I used to be able to do
I wouldn't have been able to do this. I like really needed sleep when I was a teenager. Like even more so than I do now. Like I'm better at pulling all-nighters and stuff now than when I was young. So.
Oh, really? So, because when I was young, I could do like 2 days in a row, but like no way 3, no way. So.
I was just on such like a regular schedule, and I was doing so much more stuff. I feel like then that I was just exhausted every night, so I had to sleep.
That makes sense.
I still just sleep as much as I can.
Yeah. But yeah, so Mai and Sakuta like study together after like the third day that he hasn't slept in 3 days, and it's the second day of the exams. They study Japanese together, and the phrases that they study are adorable. So like they study the kanji for like guarantee, basically. And
Hosho or something.
Hosho, yeah. So like they're like, no one is guaranteeing Sakuta's future. And then, like, it also means security if you put it in another context. And so they also do a practice sentence where there's, like, there is substantial security in the couple's future. And it's, like, back and forth, kind of like, together we have a future. You know, it's adorable.
That was cute. That was really like, this show does, like, really little romantic things all the time with the dialogue that I really appreciate. It's just good writing. Yeah.
Like, their back and forth is really good. So Mai uses like this sleeping medicine in his like tea, I think it is, to put him to sleep. And she's figured out everything basically and decided like he needs to sleep. Like he's gonna sleep eventually. He's wrecking himself. I'm gonna make him sleep. So when
she just drugged him, she's gonna take advantage of him now.
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, what do they call that when you do that in the club?
Roofie. Yeah.
Roofing. Yeah, he just got roofied.
Basically. Roofied for good, not evil. How about that?
Yes.
But yeah, so when Sakuta wakes up the next morning, like he doesn't remember and he can't see her anymore. But like he did read the account like that he left in his notebook, and I was surprised because I figured the whole thing would be blocked out, but only her name is blocked out. But of course,
that's interesting. You figured it would all be gone. I was surprised that her name was blocked out. I was like, well, how did that happen? But I guess it's all part of her like atmosphere that she creates, her power to be invisible.
It's just like when her mom came with Sakuta and like she couldn't read who sent the email. It's like that.
Oh right, yeah, you're right. It's exactly the same.
Yeah. But of course he doesn't take it seriously and just shrugs the whole notebook off and is like, I don't wonder why I wrote that. And then when he gets to school, Futaba hands him this letter that she wrote supposedly before she forgot everything. And it says, suppose that all disappearance is based on the unconscious ignorance of the students. All you need to do is create a reason for existence that overrides it. And then this part was corny to me. Your love needs to override the ignorance of every student put together. And I was just like, all right, that's a little too much.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Also, what exactly is that supposed to fucking mean?
Well, it means that, like, in order to get everybody to override this atmosphere of isolation that Mai has, like, sort of brought upon herself by her own will, you need to create the like, collective mind of the entire school a reason for Mai to exist again. And the way you can do that is what he does.
Yeah, he does have a good... Yeah. So Sakuta kind of shrugs off the note at first, too, and he's like, this is dumb. But then during his Japanese final, everything kind of comes together and comes back to him because the Hoshu kanji is tested that he studied with her. And he's like, oh my god, and he remembers everything. And he has this like rant as he runs down the stairs where in his mind all about kind of like being an individual and making your own decisions instead of accepting popular culture and popular opinion and consensus, and like how it takes a lot of mental effort to be an individual and make your own decisions, but it's worth it. And a lot of things about how like ignoring someone just because everyone else is doing it is shitty, and you know, being your own person takes a lot of personal sacrifice, which I thought was an interesting rant. I liked it. He runs out into the courtyard. He was taking a final, by the way, so I'm pretty sure his final is going to get like kicked out. Sucks for him. And yells like really fucking loud, like, I'm in love with Mai, and like just continues saying really embarrassing things like, I love her so much, and all this bullshit.
It's like, pretty cringe.
It's so bad. Like he really, really embarrasses himself. Like hardcore.
I had a physical reaction to this. Like I pulled my knees up to my chest and wrapped my arms around them. It was just like, please stop, dude. Please stop.
So uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And Mai like comes up and slaps him because he promised he wouldn't forget. But then they make up, and Mai like steps on his foot. And she's like, what do you mean to say? And he's like, I'm happy to be stomped on by you. And I'm just like, dude. And then later he's like, I love you. And then like, you have to tell me you love me every day for a month. And it's all like cutesy and lovey-dovey. And oh my god, this scene was both amazing and so embarrassing. And so cringy.
Have you guys ever done or been present for like a public confession like that?
No.
I was there for one in like a high school like auditorium that like somebody was like making a speech for like student council or something, and at the end of the speech was like, also like, Wendy, I love you. Like, and everybody started like cheering because like, you know, it's pretty hype to be a part of that moment. But I was also like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. Like,
I bet Wendy
ridiculous.
didn't like it. I bet Wendy was like, fuck you. I'm so embarrassed.
Wendy, I heard, was kind of annoyed, but then also, like, everybody... It was so much peer pressure on Wendy at that point.
Of course.
By the way, her name was not Wendy. I'm using a different name, but Wendy's a good name. But, so...
Well, then she feels like she has to
I think
date
they did
him.
get together.
Yeah, because, like, he fucking he, like, put a gun to her head. Like a social gun. This is why I don't like it when people propose, like, in a stadium or something.
Oh, I hate that. At Yankee Stadium, they do it all the time.
I feel like if someone does that, you should just, on principle, tell them to go fuck themselves, like in the middle of it. Because, no, I don't need you to put a social gun to my head and ask me to marry you. Fuck you.
But it's so good, Kat.
You've been dating for 3 years and you really love the guy.
No, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. If someone's going to ask you to marry them, that's between you two. It's not between anyone else except you two. And if they want to get that many people involved, then they don't care about you as much as you think they do. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's up to every couple, but like I totally agree with Kat. Like I would never do that to someone. Like it's a very personal moment for me. Like I don't need anybody else to be a part of it. Maybe my closest friends can be nearby. Like, so afterwards, I know that, like, I can go have dinner with all of them and, like, I can have it planned out. But I'm not going to, like, it's going to be between me and that person. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what that decision should be. But anyway.
Okay, so my buddy Matt, this is how he proposed to his now wife. They went on a motorcycle ride, and we're all very close friends, very tight-knit group. We made a bunch of signs, and we went to the Mill Race Park, and we held them up as they rode back in. And I forgot there's a really good side to this story. As they rode back in, and then like she was like already freaking out because she knew she was getting proposed to. So like that worked there because we're all so close. But this is the really funny part of the story. We get there, we got the signs, and then suddenly the guy who's supposed to have the ring doesn't have the fucking ring.
Oh my God.
Left it back at the apartment. So my buddy, I'm just going to call him Jay, is going, where's the ring? And we're like, what do you mean, dude? Where's the ring? What are you talking? He's like, I don't have the fucking ring on me. I think I left it at the place. We're like, they're on their fucking way. So we're like,
at the place.
everybody's trying to text Matt, be like, you got to stop somewhere. Stop. Go on a detour or something. And so like one person raced back, got the ring, raced back again, and barely made it in time.
Oh my God. That's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and the guy who forgot the ring, we make sure he doesn't forget.
Oh yeah, they just every time you see him, like, that fucking ring, bitch.
or we're like, or we're like, hey man, don't forget this.
Yeah,
and he's just like, ugh.
Oh, he'll never live that down.
Oh, man.
That's one thing you cannot screw up. Yeah, you'll never live it down.
Yeah.
All right, so Kat, keep going. After he embarrasses the shit out of himself.
Yeah, so that's basically the end of the episode, but I kind of wonder, like, now that he's fixed the situation, like, is this going to be a harem anime where now he has to fix, like, 50 other girls' problems? That will irritate me.
It is. It's
like, that's where it seems like it's going.
That's why I guess I've been hearing all these people making Bakemonogatari comparisons, and I didn't understand it until now. And it's like, yes, because he basically fixed Mai, and Mai is basically like the Senjogahara of this series, whereas he loves her, but then he's going to come into contact with all these other girls who also need his help.
Bitches. He keeps his main girl.
Yes.
Side bitches.
You know, Mai is his main girl. But he's got to have the side bitches. So, yeah, he's going to be like, collect all the bitches.
Collect them all.
Yeah, the next one up is Tomoe.
Tomoe.
So.
Yeah, here we go. It's like a dating sim that you watch. But yeah, no, I mean, it's still, I still feel like this episode was amazing. And it could still be good. Because I like Bakemonogatari. I like it a lot, even though there are parts where I get irritated. So I won't write it off just because it's a harem. Just because it does those things. We'll see. I kind of wish it wasn't that way, but we'll give it a shot.
The only little nitpick I had about the show is, like, they do these scenes with Sakuta, like, running towards the camera sometimes, especially from a distance, where you can tell his character model is not moving at all. Like, he's running, right? But his feet aren't moving across the sidewalk. Like, it just looks terrible. It's just like, where are you going, dude? You're just running in place. And it's just like, it's really hard to draw somebody running towards a camera. It's very difficult.
I would think so.
So, yeah. But it didn't look great in this. That was like a little nitpick. But
see, I didn't even notice that. Bcom always notices things like that. It's impressive.
Yeah. All right, Leo, why don't you tell us about some banana fish?
Banana fish. So, Banana Fish, episode 15, The Garden of Eden. Just as since it's probably been a minute, this is right after they announced that Ash is dead on the news. So, AG manages to like take Yutlong hostage, and he gets away in a car. But Surin, he's the new Chinese boss guy who took over Shorter's place. Gives like chase on his motorbike, and after they get like far enough away, AG pulls the car over, and the two get out. And AG still believes Ash is alive, and Yutlong says that he will still be Ash's enemy even if he if he is, and he's like telling AG just to shoot him. You'll be doing him a favor, but AG can't do it, so he just ends up just like walking away.
Fuck, Yutlong, what is your problem? This was so drama. This was so
he's
drama.
Probably right though when he says like Ash would like shed blood for you. Like it's true,
I mean, but
AG's not that type of person.
Who is like, you know what? I need to teach you a lesson by almost dying myself. This person
I think everything
don't
about
know.
who AG is pisses off Yutlong, and that's why he has such a bad reaction to him, because his life's been so easy in comparison, and he just hates him for it. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and Yutlong is like also clearly sulking over the news about Ash too. Like,
right,
he misses him, I guess. So whatever. But then later on, Dino comes back from wherever he went, and Max confronts him. And he's like, I wrote that news article about your tax evasion and all this stuff. And he's like, I want to do an interview with you about the tax evasion and Ash's death. And then, like, as Dino's driving away, he's like, I want to know the real truth about Ash. He's like, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. And then, like, the detectives and the lawyer go to the institute to watch the autopsy of Ash and are shocked when the cadaver really looks like Ash on the autopsy table there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But in actuality, he's just like upstairs and having like these tests ran on him. And I wish they would have like talked more about how they got a fucking cadaver to look exactly like him.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to know the insight on that too.
Because they just go like, "Oh, that wasn't him," and I'm like, "But what the fuck? It looked like him to me."
Like, where did you find this Ash twin? Did you just like run around New York City looking for like? Do you put out a casting call? Is that what they did? I don't know.
They're like, "Oh, good, you win, you got the job," and then they just shoot him in the head. He's like all excited for a second, like I did, and then he's dead.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But these tests are running. They're trying to determine his intelligence, and like he has an IQ over like 200.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean he's pretty fucking smart dude. Don't people usually go like kind of insane with IQs that high?
Yeah, there's like a link between like a very, very high IQ and like mental disorder and insanity. Yep. Yes, for sure.
Well, you can't have one thing without giving up something else,
Not to mention all the shit Ash has been through. He's gonna turn like 28 and he's just gonna fucking snap. So,
oh man, that cat really likes Ash.
He wants to be heard, everyone.
It's very cute.
So they end up taking Ash to the facility, saying that they have something they want to show him. On their way, he notices that like even the floors are soundproof, and then like he links that to like his brother. He was always really sensitive about the sound when he was messed up on the banana fish. And also the security cameras are everywhere. So he's already making the link. On the way, they run into a man who is just like, he's a very subdued individual. And the doctor says, like, wouldn't know that he raped 3 nuns, but we've cured that with banana fish.
Yeah, so I was really excited when they tested him for his IQ. And they're like, oh, we need him for our studies. I was excited for a second because I was like, oh my god. Something in this anime is going to be motivated by something other than sex or drugs. I was like, this is amazing. But no, it's still about the drugs. It's still about the drugs.
So they also, in this facility, they call Banana Fish B1, which I kind of like. They end up coming to like a room full of brains and like tanks and stuff. And then like Ash loses it when he finds out that the one he's like standing next to is Shorter's brain. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Yeah, that was messed up.
Yeah, they finally get to a room where they have like Professor Dawson in it, who is also in the same subdued state. He's like playing with just like wooden blocks. He's like dumb. The doctor says after repeated doses, people lose their intelligence, and he says that's what they're trying to fix next with it. He says something like, oh, how great would it be to control the scientists of the world as long as they, were able to keep their smarts.
Right.
They then sedate Ash and say he will be totally different after his dosage of B1. But then just before they administer the B1, Dino shows up and has them stop. But then like the C.I. guys show up and tell Dino he has fallen from his power. and Mr. Kipper now controls the whole banana fish operation. And he's also going to have a replacement coming in. So like all this like dynamic power stuff happens in like this 2-minute window in this show.
Yeah. There's a lot of like stuff going on with the grown-ups in the show now, you know? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Just very quickly, Max found out that the facility has a monthly tour, and it's actually tomorrow, and he managed to get him and Shunichi on it.
How convenient.
Yeah, that was convenient. So Dino's like replacement shows up, and he has like a talk with Dino. He's like, I need your help, to transitioning into this. And then they end up visiting the facility so that he can see the progress on Banana Fish. And I was like, okay, Dino doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would take this as calmly as he is.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he is a business guy. Like, he's got some business smarts in his head. That made some sense to me.
Yeah, losing it wouldn't be in his best interest. But anyways, Ash being Ash, has his own plan to get out. And you want to go back to the cringy shit again?
Yes, let's do that.
And he starts.
So first, he asks the nurse, like, what about info? And the nurse tells him shit about the tour and stuff. Why would she tell him anything?
It was the guy.
Oh, or whatever.
Yeah, it's that one guy that was operating on Shorter, the other dude's brother. But no, he asked him, something about the test. He's like, oh, the test, you won't be doing any testing tomorrow because of the monthly tour. Yeah, and it's just like, wow, really? Just throw it out there like that?
I know, and like, even with the half-hearted, like, but don't try anything, like, actor. It's like, come on, dude. Like, why? I don't know.
So anyways, Ash looks right into the security camera where there's a team of other 3 security guys watching, and he starts singing a song about being a candy bar and how you want to lick me and doing all these fucking really gay and seductive poses.
And these guards are like totally down for it. They're like, oh.
I think 2 of them were like you and me, Bcom, and we're just like, what the fuck is going on? But the third one...
Yeah.
But Ash is doing this, and then like at the end of his little routine, he throws like his sheet over the camera, and like one of the security guards is like, "I'll take care of it," and he goes down there and like pulls out his
boner
gun
in his hand. He's like, "I'll take care of it." Like pulls out his one gun in his one hand and his other gun in his other. Yeah.
Why does every like bad guy in this show want to get a blowjob from Ash?
I don't know.
Like every single one.
Yeah, but basically, then he goes in there. And then he's like, Ash is like, don't you want some of this? And then the guard, he's like, nobody can see us anyways. And the guard's like, all right, puts away his gun and pulls out his other gun. And then next thing you know, Ash is standing over him with his metal gun and his key card to get, so now he can get around.
He's
so
like,
it's
I
just
told
like,
you
wow.
I'd take you to heaven in 3 minutes. It's like, yeah, I mean, he's dead. I don't know.
Ash is very good. He's very good.
He knows all the men want him, apparently. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, there's like an insane amount of gay people in this show.
We're going to find out that Ash like sprays himself with some drug, and that's why everyone's...
Some pheromone.
Yeah.
That would make more sense than just him being like irresistible to everyone.
Yep.
Banana Fish continues to be ridiculous.
When AG like wakes up and he meets like the new Chinese boss.
Yeah, Su Ren.
Yeah, I don't know if you talked about that at all. They have like a brief scene where like they talk about like as soon as Su Ren comes in the picture, they start playing the stereotypical Chinese music.
They do.
You're right.
They do.
I was like, what are they doing?
I burst out laughing. It's a pause, dude.
I'm so glad you remembered that, because I was like, what the fuck?
I was like, what is this? Why did they do that? It was terrible.
It's his main theme. It's the theme of Surin.
It was bad.
It was so ridiculous. Man. I would expect that in like Thunderbolt Fantasy, but
I know!
maybe not in this show.
Thunderbolt Fantasy.
Oh man. Anyway, all right. Are we good to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All All right, take us into Zombie Land Saga, Kat.
Can't believe we're going to talk about idols. This is amazing.
Idols.
Okay, so this episode 3, Dead or Live Saga. So the manager says that they did a great job on that last gig. He cheers them on as nice zombies. I'm like, what the fuck? Then tells
like
them,
right up in Lily's face. He's like, "Aren't you good at zombies?
Yeah.
Good." He's like, "Dude, back off."
They start
Calm
out kind
down.
of like, "Oh, thanks," and then they get like enthusiastic. They're like, "Yeah," and then he's like, "Don't get too full of yourselves." And I'm like, "Dude,
Dude, every time he's on screen, I'm laughing.
I know.
He's
He's
killing
so
me.
good." Him
He's
and
like right
Policeman
up in their
A.
faces, like clapping right in front of their face, like all of them. It's so
And just
ridiculous.
yelling, "Good job!"
Him and Policeman A. Anytime Policeman A comes, I'm like, "Here's my boy. Here we go." So he wants them to do a gorilla live, but he doesn't know how to spell it. So he like tries to write it on the board, and then he just gives up.
Yep.
He only gets like to the U. He's like GU.
That's
I know.
fine,
Then
yeah.
just stopped.
He's like, I don't remember. English is hard, folks.
English doesn't make sense. Also,
Yeah. And then Sakura is worried they'll get arrested if they do this. And Saki's like, "Don't wuss out, bitch." Like, and then the manager demands that they do this tomorrow, even if that means that they have to practice all night and get no sleep. And I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? It's a gorilla live. Like, there's no time period. Like, what? I don't get it.
Yeah, that was pretty messed up.
Yeah, so they start to practice. Oh wait, hold on. They start to practice. Lily wants to be the idol leader. Like, so why else would she propose picking a leader? Like, the only reason you propose picking a leader is so that you can say that you want to be the leader. Don't you agree with that?
Yeah.
yeah.
Unless it's like you just want, you see things like going awry. There's like no organization, and you're like, we need somebody to like keep us in line. But that's not what was happening, though. Really, it was just like, I want a leader now. We're an idol group. We should have a leader.
So then Saki like kind of wants it too, though, and she jumps in before Lily can say it, and so she ends up getting picked because she's so fucking loud about it and wants it so bad.
She's so loud, and like as she's screaming, like you hear like motorcycle noises because she's from a motorcycle gang.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the end, like Sakura's still the leader to me. So
Yeah, I totally agree. Like even Saki, like I think going forward, like keeps asking Sakura like for like in times of need, like what they should do. So she's really the leader. But yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know, like they try to decide on a name. And then immediately Lily's like, "What about Lily and friends?" And this just enhances to me that, like, really she wanted to be the fucking leader.
Lily and friends.
And then Tai takes this opportunity while they're trying to debate about a name to, like, cause chaos. And she, like, grabs the pen and is, like, sucking all the fucking ink out of this pen.
Dude, her random antics are fucking killing me. I die every time I watch her. She's just in the background, like, chasing Lily or biting something or somebody, and I'm just like, God, it's so funny.
This is really good.
And Sakura is, like, running around like, "That's bad for you! Don't do that!" And the others are like, "But she's dead. Like, it can't be bad
Is it really
for
that
her."
bad?
I know. And then one of them brings up, like, "We should be flambois," or whatever. Which is, like, French for some raspberry, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I do know some French. There we go.
Good job, Kat.
Yes. 2.5 years of French. I should know something. So they decide that should be their
don't get full of
group
yourself.
True.
Good job, Leo. High five.
I know. So they decide that should be their group name, and one of them says the name sounds stinky, and someone else like points out that they may all stink since they're dead, and then like the music stops. And everyone just freezes, and they're all like, "Oh shit!" And they all suddenly smell each other.
Okay, this is hilarious because I'm not going to get too deep into episode 4, but it comes up again. Like, even though they're like dead, they they're girls. They still care about how they look, how shiny their skin is, what they smell like.
Well, of course.
It's even funnier. Yeah, right.
I almost want them to get into, like, them realizing that they can't ever have sex or anything, because it'll suck.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
That'll be amazing. Okay, anyway. It'll never happen, though. Anyway, so Ty at this point sneezes in a way that sounds like friend choo-choo or something. Mm-hmm. And they all decide that should be their name, since it sounds fucking cute. That's just stupid to me, but what the fuck ever. They have a name. Yeah. They try to practice the dancing, but they all kind of give up. And they go out to the playground, and they're, like, spinning on this, like, weird spin thing. And then Ty starts spinning them just fucking faster and faster to dangerous levels. And finally, only Sakura, like, dazed and just thinking too hard, is left on the wheel. And she gets, like, thrown off and crashes in this major way, and it's amazing. But yeah, then she gets up and she wants to start telling the others, like, we shouldn't give up, we should fight. And then, like, Yuguri, like, comes up and hits her and says exactly what she was gonna fucking say. It was so funny.
It was good.
But yes, they all go back to practicing, but it's still hard. The two that were idols, like, don't want to do it, and they're just like, no, we're gonna sit in the corner and be bitches. But they're like, go to leave, and they get chastised by the manager as to why they were even idols if they don't believe anything is possible. And I'm just like, come on, dude. Give them some slack.
Yeah.
Maybe they're being more realistic because they were idols.
I mean, he's the one who's, like, kidnapped them here. It's, like, pretty unfair of him to say this.
So, I don't know. They go to the live, whatever. And I was unimpressed by the dance. This is the first time in this show that we've seen them use CG. And I don't ever like when an idol show uses CG. I understand it's, like, necessary sometimes, but...
Well, the main use of, like, CGs you'll see is, like, when, like, lots of action is happening at one time. Mm-hmm. Because it's cheaper and way less time consuming than drawing frame by frame.
I know, but it's still shitty, especially when you see the transition.
Yeah, it's still but to me, that was kind of funny because it was like a jab at, like, actual other idol shows. Is kind of how I took it. So I was
it could be,
that's
but
funny.
like it's also like, you know, just shitty. So
like there's like a bunch of ways I could justify it because like they are shitty idols right now. Like they're not good yet. So maybe that explains it. But like at the same time, I agree with Kat because while I thought that like the CG character models for the characters actually looked pretty decent, just like the choreography for the dancing was like really lame.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's like a show thing or if it's like just they couldn't choreograph a cool looking dance because they couldn't do it. I don't know, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets better, I'll say so. But for right now, I'm like, oh, come on. You could do better than that. Animation team, come on. Lily falls just like she always did in practice. The two idols that don't really, like, that used to be idols, the two girls, like, they don't actually join the performance at first either. They just sit in the corner. But, okay, so Sakura forgets the lyrics halfway through the song, too. And then the other two have to come and help. And, like, at that point, the whole scene feels very cheesy to me and idol anime-ish. And, like, I was kind of like, no, don't be an idol anime trope. I want more zombie. Less idols.
So, for me, like, that scene made me immediately think of episode 20 of Idolmaster, which is, like, a lot of people's favorite episode where, like, one of the characters is having trouble singing on stage and then everybody comes out to help her. But the thing is, like, that had been built up through so much character development at that point that it was, like, very emotional moment and very meaningful. Here, it was just like, oh, they're just going to help out because, of course, they are. And it's like, there was no character development. It was just, like, a thing, and it came off as cheesy, like Kat said to me. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, I don't know. I got irritated. The police guy comes, just like Sakura was worried about before. And, you know, they all are like, oh, shit. And, like, the manager comes and pulls up the van, and they all get out of there in a hurry.
go, hi, go.
I know, and I'm like, oh yeah, that didn't look suspicious at all. And then
I love the way you did that.
No, I know.
So good.
And then later, Sakura thanks like Ai and Junko for joining in. But once again, it's just very cheesy and too many idol vibes. And I'm just like, ugh, come on, give me this zombie shit. I don't want this. So I was a little annoyed.
Yeah, just because of that, this whole episode was kind of a roller coaster ride for me. Because there was a lot of things I did like and a lot of things I didn't really like. One of the weird things that really got to me is I can't wrap my head around why the two girls that are the former idols are having the hardest time being an idol. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say it's because they have experience being an idol and they can see how impossible this hurdle is to be an idol as a zombie, or maybe something else. I don't really know.
So yeah, I was thinking about that, and at the very end of the episode, they're in a room and they're like talking to each other after the whole thing happened, right? And one of them, I think it's Junko with the white hair, says like, it was a lot. Like not performing alone felt better than I imagined. And then she kind of leaves. So the thing is, like, she was a solo idol.
Yeah,
so
I remember that.
She probably had like some fears about performing with a group, or if she would like want to do that, or if she even could, or if she would like it, not being the center of attention. And so I think that's her reason for holding back. And then I'm not sure as much, but I think it was similar. She says something about how, like, I guess I'm starting over from scratch. So maybe her thing is about, like, she had this, like, established group once upon a time. And, like, she sees that everybody else here is, like, not really up to their level yet. But by the end of this episode, she's kind of like, all right, well, we could start over again. I could do this. This could be fun, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm extrapolating a lot from like 2 lines, so like I could be totally wrong. Like I don't know, but that's what I got onto that.
Okay.
All right, should we move on?
Yeah.
All right, last show of the day: Karakuri Circus, episode 3, Abyss. So yeah, in the opening scene, Shirogane asks Narumi why he's specifically like been trying to help Masaru out. And then they see this like elementary school boy like with a yellow construction hat like trip and fall on the street, and he starts crying. And this kid, God bless him, has the ugliest crying face I've ever seen. He looks like a Titan or something from Attack on Titan. It's so bad. It's so ugly. And Narumi's just looking at this kid, and he basically just looks at Shirogane and says like, if I told you why I'm helping Masaru, you wouldn't believe me. And I think he's just implying that when he was a little kid, like we learned in the previous episode, he was a big crybaby, and he sees himself in Masaru, and in this little crybaby kid that they see. So yeah,
I could see that.
Right.
So yeah, Masaru has been captured by this guy Zenji Saiga, who is his father's younger brother, so his uncle or adoptive uncle, whatever. And Masaru gets really creepy vibes from this guy. Obviously, like. Zenji is leading the kidnapping force who've captured him, and he has a bunch of henchmen guarding the estate. But the slaughter force is also gathered around, and they're planning to take him down so they can, complete their mission, which is to kill Masaru. But Narumi has different ideas. He changes those plans. He drives through the gate of the compound with a motorcycle with Shirogane, and he starts just beating a bunch of these kidnapper dudes to a pulp. And then after that, a little bit of that.
We're just beginning to get dark.
Oh, yeah, just beginning to get a little dark. They come up against this puppeteer, this woman named Takumi, who has a Karakuri puppet named Teo Gautier, is how she pronounced it. And she just wrecks this guy from the slaughter team, like, just wrecks him.
Brutally.
Yeah, like squeezing his like Karakuri between these two huge things. And then Shirogane is like, all right, I need to face down against this bitch. And so she does. Meanwhile, Zenji is being super creepy with Masaru, trying to convince him like, you should just let me adopt you, little guy. You'll be totally fine in my family. You should just let me adopt you. And Masaru's like, can I go to the bathroom, please? And he goes to open the door.
Look at my smile. It's not
just look at my Attack on Titan face smile. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Nothing
it's so
weird.
Aggressive. So fucking aggressive. Oh my god.
And so he like creeps up behind Masaru as he's about to go to the bathroom, and like Masaru's like, all right, screw this. He like pushes him away and he starts running. Meanwhile, Shirogane's outside and she's having a showdown with Takumi, who her and her Karakuri like have like these bombs, and she throws a whole bunch of bombs at Shirogane, but Arlequin catches like every single bomb in his hands and then throws them back at Takumi, and that's when Shirogane has her Bane moment from Batman, where she's like, you may have been trained with puppets since you were a small girl, but I was born a puppeteer.
Right?
Molded by it. You know?
So it, like, when they hit her with those, like, you see her flying through the air, like, blood coming out of her mouth, and I'm like...
Yeah.
Are we just flat out killing people? I mean, in a shonen? I mean, like, some shonens, you know, people die, but, like, usually there isn't mass murderings in one single episode. Good God.
Well, or, like, the part where the guy is, like, getting crushed. And like...
He's getting slowly pulled into, like, the spinning puppet or whatever.
Yeah, and like, the one girl... And, like, and, you know, Narumi is like... Shouldn't we help him? And Shirogane is like, no, it's just one less person we have to deal with later. Just let him die.
I kind of liked that attitude, though. It's like, yeah, like that guy's trying to kill Masaru. Why would we help him? You know? So, all right.
I liked that after that they didn't like. Oh, sorry, but after that, Narumi wasn't like, no, but we have to save him anyway, and like went out. I'm glad that they let him die. I was like, that's accurate.
Me too.
That's what would happen.
So as Masaru is hiding from Zenji, he climbs into this cabinet in this mansion, and he finds a book with his father's name on the front cover, Sadayoshi Saiga, and it refers to his father as puppet number 14. Yeah.
Yes. But, okay, how did this kid find this fucking book with all this information in it from his dad that his uncle has apparently never found in this house
if you notice,
so quickly?
If you notice, like, the areas he's in now are completely wrecked and not used. So he's probably never been in there.
Oh, but come on, that's such a coincidence, though. Like,
it's a coincidence.
Just happens to find it, you know. And
I'm not that bothered by it because it's like, you know, shonen anime. It's going to happen.
Yeah, if anything, the physics started bothering me at this point in time.
Well, and then the uncle is like, I won't beat you too badly if you come out now. And I'm just like, oh, that'll get him to come out. I won't beat you too badly. That's really going to get him to come out. Fucking
Look
idiot.
at, you know, some people just aren't very good with kids. And Zenji's one of those people. So, yeah, Masaru is like reading this book. He also sees his own name in the book with the number 17 next to it, which is interesting. And then after that, we briefly go to this scene where we learn from Ashihana, who's like one of the guys from the slaughter group, that the puppeteers are from this clan called the Kuroga clan, who centuries before used to perform sacred puppet dances for the gods. And then they cut back to Masaru, whose father wrote in the book that the puppets and the puppeteers are no longer necessary, and that Masaru is the bait for them. He's the switch for which the Kuroga clan will blow themselves up on. And it's like, Masaru's like, I'm bait? What? And in the past, the Kuroga clan had paid the Saiga family for their puppets, but now it's like the reverse. The Saigas pay the Kuroga clan to test the performance of their puppet-like weapons, and that's like the deal they have now. And so, yeah, Masaru's father continues to write, like, the Kuroga clan will kill each other along faction lines as they, like, try to capture the bait that is Masaru. That's his whole, according to Keikaku, plan for everything that's happening here. So, yeah. As they try to enter the mansion, like, Narumi and Shirogane fall into a pit trap. And Shirogane is like, just leave me, Narumi, leave me. And Narumi's like, hell no, like, if you don't care about your own life, how can I trust you, like, to protect Masaru's life? How are you going to care about somebody else? And she's like, oh, that kind of makes sense. And meanwhile, Zenji has found Masaru in this cupboard and then just starts beating the hell out of him with a cane.
Oh,
like,
Jesus, child beatings.
Yeah,
so
it was
bad.
harsh.
Bloody face and everything, like, pretty bad. Right. And so Narumi, like, as he was plunging.
And that's when I went back and I'm like, I am watching a shonen, right? This, right?
Yeah, it is pretty dark. Like, yeah, for sure. Like, so Narumi, like, when he was plunging into the pit with Shirogane, he positions himself so he took the brunt of that fall. And he's pretty badly hurt. And he also just started having an attack, like, right before they fell. So he's going through that, too. And Shirogane is unconscious, and we see her having a dream of, like, this old woman training her as a young girl to be a puppeteer. And she wakes up, and she's kind of moved that Narumi, protected her and helped her. But when she tries to help him out by laughing, she's not sure when she's, like, supposed to laugh when he makes his stupid faces. Like, she can't do it. And Narumi's like, all right, well, I'll show her once and for all it's pointless. I'll tell her something that, like, won't make her laugh. And he tells her, you're going to be my girl one day, Shirogane.
That made me laugh.
It made me laugh. But I expected her to laugh, but she didn't. Instead, it was actually really, like, romantic moment because she says, you're right, that isn't funny. And she says it in this way that's like, no, I don't think that's a funny thing for you to say. Like, I think that could potentially happen someday. And that means a lot to me.
Can we talk about her flashback? She has a line in there where she goes, I never knew my parents. Mm-hmm. But in, like, episode 1, she says she was saved by, like, Masaru's grandfather.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was weird,
and her mother.
Too.
And I was like, what? Wait, did you know your parents or not?
That was weird. I agree.
You had a theory on this?
Yeah, so my theory is that she never knew her biological parents, but when I think this woman who trained her is basically who she considers to be her mother from then on.
But is it that Lucille Verneuil?
I think that's who it is. Like, I looked her up on Mal as well. She hasn't been introduced by name in the show yet, but it's like the old woman who trains her. And, like, yeah, they say, like, oh, she was... in the first episode, they say that her mother was, like, somebody's nanny. Like, it was the main character's nanny. Like, when he was, like, 11 years old. Or no, when she was 11 years old. It was all weird. So I'm assuming that's who she means by her mother, I guess. Okay. It's really weird.
I guess we'll
and
find out
confusing.
later, like, more. Yeah, it was weird, though. I agree.
Yeah, we learned that Shirogane grew up in France, and she was forced to give up her real name, was as Eleanor, and she was trained in puppetry from, like, the moment she was, like, as a baby, basically. Mm-hmm. And she was also told that she needed to be an emotionless puppet herself. And, like, she was given the mission of just destroying every Karakuri puppet, and she's never really questioned that mission before now. And also, like, when she was, like, when she said it wasn't funny to Narumi, that brought him out of his attack, which was interesting. Cause
I think it means, like, love can stop the attack, too, which is really corny, but...
Yeah, love or, like, some kind of genuine emotion from another person seems to be the thing that stops his attacks. Like, laughter, love, like, something like that. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. I liked that. And so, yeah, like, Narumi reassures Shirogane, like, no puppet can smile the way I've seen you smile before. There's no way you're just a puppet. And so that reassures her greatly. And meanwhile, Masaru is still trying to get away from Zenji. He's broken a window, and he's standing on the ledge of this windowsill. And he tells himself that he's going to throw away the crybaby that he used to be, and he's going to be strong because of things Narumi said to him. And I'll just note that that's taken him 3 episodes. It took Eren Yeager approximately 3 seasons to say he's going to throw away the crybaby he used to be.
Yeah. Well, and also Yeager is much fucking older. So.
Yeah, right. Good for you, Masaru. You're way ahead of the curve.
Exactly.
And so Masaru, he's like, all right, I'm doing it. He throws himself off the ledge of this window, and he basically promises himself, like, if I survive, I will, like, laugh all the time. I won't be sad or afraid anymore.
This is one of the moments where I was like, all right, you guys are stretching my disbelief of how physics fucking works. Because
Like, he plunges through this tree academy, and you hear it. He hits a couple branches, right? So you're like, okay, I guess he slowed himself down, but he just lands head first, headbutting this other guy with like the force of a truck, and he just somehow survives this. I guess he's really hard-headed, as a kid. I don't know. But
I don't even with a hard hat on, I think you're probably fucked.
No, he's totally screwed. This is ridiculous. And he falls right in front of Ashihana, like one of the slaughter dudes. And he gets this crazed look in his eyes. He's like super determined when he gets up. And I like Ashihana says like he has this beastly look. I think Ashihana might be reminded of like the look that Masaru's father used to have if he knew Masaru's father, because that was the sense I got. That's like, oh, this kid is like the real deal.
Okay.
And Masaru like proposes to Ashihana like, you should work for me instead of trying to kill me. And he's like so swayed by this. He's like, all right, sounds good.
Well, wait, no. He's not until he's like, no, I go by whatever employer employed me first. But then Masaru shows him the book where he found out that he's actually being used.
Good
and
point.
Then he's like, all right, I'll switch sides now, but I'm still getting fucking paid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was a lot of character building in one episode.
So what's interesting about that is he's probably not going to double cross Masaru at this point, because that's not his character type.
Oh no, yeah.
So that's awesome.
I think he'll be on his side pretty much.
Yeah. Yep.
Because like screw Zenji, who would want to be on Zenji's side? Well, I guess he wasn't fighting for Zenji anyway, but yeah. I don't know if we know who hired Ashihana. Do we know who hired him?
He's just whatever clan they are.
Yeah. I guess that's true. Yeah. So, yeah, you like this because it's a little bit darker, right, Leo?
Oh yeah, it's got really dark than most other shonen. I mean, like, there's basically on-screen killings of people. There's beatings of a child with a cane, and I'm like, this is only the third fucking episode of this shonen. Yeah. What am I watching? And I'm not saying like these things have happened before. I've never seen them happen this fast or just intense. So like, I'm really kind of liking it.
But it's
basically my general outlook on it.
There's parts of this that are very corny to me, but a lot of the show is good. So
yeah. And Masaru's like really coming into his own as a character now after this episode, and like everything about Shirogane and Narumi, like I love them together. Like they're both like very broken people, but they fit with each other really, really well. So like I'm rooting for them, and I like their interactions a lot. Yeah, it's just really fun, and I like all the fight scenes. Like, and the puppets are freaking awesome. Like the fights between the puppets are great. So yeah, I'm super pumped about this right now. I like this show. All right, is that it? Is anything else?
It sounds like it.
Yeah, I think that's it for this week. All right, thanks for listening. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube to get updates on our new podcasts or videos. You can also find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, and follow us on Twitter at Nerdom and Other for updates as well. With that, we'll see you next time with episode 4. Bye.
Peace.
Later.